Hey everyone, it's Paul with Cruise
Hey!
Planners Getaway Gang and my partner in crime, Ed Gates. We are coming at you today on March 24th, and here I am in California, at least, in the midst of a shelter in place. Ed in Arizona is not quite there yet. We keep talking about if that's going to happen, but we are all. I'm getting a little stir crazy. I know Ed's still getting out to his office some, but I'm definitely getting stir crazy.
We're not in the shelter in place here, but we do have all of our bars and restaurants and public places are closed. State parks, national parks are being closed. The Grand Canyon closed. So there's really nothing to do if you do go out. As you mentioned, I am running to my office regularly, uh, but that's because there's nobody at my
Yeah,
office.
yeah, I know, of course,
And
and
I have the luxury of not having, being able to get out of my house right now. And like you, is probably pretty stir crazy right now.
well, it's part of it's. I mean, obviously, my I do have a home office. I'm used to it, but Stephanie, my wife, she's about 50-50 on working from home or commuting and traveling here and there. And of course, she is stuck at home 100%. And our dog is all keyed up because he knows something's weird, and so it's just a mishmash of a little bit of angst. Because of course, we're anxious too about the situation and trying to. But we and you and I have talked about this some, Ed, and we'll talk. You'll talk more about this in a minute. Is we're 100% behind the social distancing. It's very important that we do it right now for obvious reasons. So,
Hmm.
yeah.
And Italy and Spain and Germany were all behind as well. I mean, but they still jumped on it as fast as they can, and they still had problems containing the spread of this virus.
Right.
Now,
Well, I just
this
want to say by behind, I mean we support the social distancing efforts, is what I'm saying.
of
And we are
course.
behind. We are behind as a country too. But I meant you and I personally. I mean, with all of my complaining and such, I am behind.
Absolutely. And it's a weird position for us as travel agents to say this, but we encourage you to not travel right now. It is probably one of the most irresponsible things you can do as a person and for humanity is to travel right now with the virus running rampant right now. So we definitely encourage you to shelter in place if possible, work from home, wash your hands a lot, and follow the CDC guidelines and the WHO rules to try to contain this spread.
Absolutely.
In Italy, in China, in Italy, in Germany, in Spain, even on the Diamond Princess, we saw this. They followed containment. They got exactly the way they needed to, and this thing still managed to spread. This virus is relentless, and we need to be safe and responsible and do our best to make sure to contain the spread. And the only way to do that is to avoid making contact with other people.
Absolutely. And I didn't mean to send us down the rabbit hole there, but I want to mention just a couple small things, and I want you to talk a little bit more about travel right now because I know that was on your mind today. But a couple small updates. Number one, we're kind of changing the show up a little bit. We've shortened it. You've noticed the last couple of weeks. As you knew, back end of last year, we've mentioned, we call it Travel Talk Live, except realistically, it's not live anymore. We record it live and post it right after we record it. But after Facebook did away with the ability for us to do the show, in two different locations, we started using Skype. So we're cutting the live out. We're just going to call it Travel Talk. We're also going to dispense with, for the time being, with the watch party, and we're just going to do a weekly show. We'll continue to do some great things about news and destinations and travel advisor Q&A, but for now we're going to record it, and we will continue to post it on YouTube and in our Facebook VIP group every Tuesday around the same time, Tuesday evening, and we will interact via the comments there, which we're already doing in the watch party anyway. And you can watch it at your leisure. But we'll still be recording it basically the day of, and keeping current with the news and such. But just a small update that we're just tweaking that. and it won't always be at 5:30 anymore, and we're taking the live out of the name of the show. But breaking news today that I really wanted to share, and I told Ed this right before we went live, is I just got emails from Royal Caribbean, which is a huge company, and Celebrity, which is part of that company as well, that they are the first of the major cruise lines to extend their suspension of service for another month. So we talked a little bit about last week how all of the cruise lines had finally come into step and had delayed or had suspended their service through early April, usually around the 10th or 11th, depending on the cruise line. Well, now Royal Caribbean is the first one to go, hey, we really think, and you and I have talked, we didn't think it was realistic for us to be back to cruising time by early April. So Royal and Celebrity are pushing now to the 12th and 13th of May, respectively. And the interesting thing is all Alaska sailings have been canceled for those two, through early July. They don't plan to get back into Alaska till early July. And the reason that is because the government of Canada has said we aren't going to allow any cruise ship traffic at all until July 1st. And even if you're going out of Seattle, the way that maritime laws are, there has to be a stop somewhere on that trip in Canada. A lot of times it's in Victoria, BC. And because Victoria is not accepting, then all Alaska cruises, at least Royal is the first one to go, hey, and I've seen a lot of chatter on the channels of Travel Agent, Travel Advisor, chat room, Facebook groups and chat and such about that. And they've been asking over and over because, obviously we were wondering. Well, now Royal has said, we're canceling all Alaska sailings until early July, and Celebrity as well. So that is big news that just happened today. I'm guessing other cruise lines in the next few days will follow suit.
Yeah, and it is hard to not be optimistic. I get I'm being optimistic and all.
Yeah,
but,
me too.
Recent publications by scientists and everything say this thing's going to be around a little while. So we're digging in. We're battening down the hatches and getting ready for the long haul here. And I think you guys should too. I think there should be other people, other cruise lines that are going to be following suit, obviously. And it might be a little while before we get cruising back up.
I mean, I hope that we're there. The Alaska thing is a unique thing. I'm hoping that cruising does start back in later May. I mean, at this point, who knows? I'm hoping that's a possibility. I just know that early to mid-April, it's like I mentioned, I was having a conversation with my Carnival rep, is the county of LA, the stay-at-home order that we're at, it lasts through April 19th. And that goes a week beyond what Carnival was even talking about suspending service. But the Port of Long Beach is going to be closed until at least April 19th. So I know changes are coming. We'll see how it works. Royal Caribbean and Celebrity are offering a very generous, they're going to offer 125% of your money towards a future cruise all the way to the end of 2021. And even if you just, you want to chew on it for a while and see how things go, they are allowing you to even get a refund and make a decision on that all the way to the end of this year, the end of 2020, before, your what they're calling a future cruise credit turns into, a permanent for next year. They're giving you a chance to make a decision on whether to keep the credit of 125% or get a refund all the way through the end of this year. So they're all having to be real flexible right now. And you and I both agree we will be back, and there's going to be a lot of pent-up demand once we finally get the virus under control or the economy stabilizes. People are going to want to get the heck out of Dodge for a while. So it will come.
We'll be here ready to take your orders when we get the all clear.
Absolutely.
But
well, that's enough of me. It's enough of me rambling. Tell us a little bit about what's going on right now in terms of traveling and stuff.
Well, I don't know if you guys noticed, but you can sit outside in your backyard and air traffic. I mean, it might be lower, but it's still going on. You look up in the air, you see a plane flying overhead every few minutes. At least I do, living here in the city of Phoenix. And you may see it too where you live. There's a lot of planes out there. Yeah. But we checked with the airlines. Many of them have slashed their itineraries anywhere between 60 to 80% of their normal flight schedules have been axed. So there are still people flying. So that renders the question: who's flying right now? Well, a lot of people actually. I was disappointed to find out there's a lot of leisure travel still going on. As we saw in the news, there were spring breakers in Florida and spring breakers in California, in your backyard, Paul, on the
Yeah,
beach.
over the weekend. Yep.
Yeah, over the weekend. Which we definitely, like I said earlier, we discourage traveling right now. We encourage you to follow the recommendations of the CDC and the WHO as far as social distancing at this time. However, there are a group of people that I want to give a shout out today who are a few groups of people who are traveling right now and have to. First of all, it's people coming back into the country from affected areas. I had a friend of mine who came into town from Spain, actually, because he was supposed to be there for about 3 months and he got his vacation cut short. Just arrived last week. And he said it's night and day right now between Spain airports and American airports. This is a fun story, and not necessarily fun. This is an eye-opening story. In Spain, every 3 minutes, somebody would come on the overhead and say to make sure you stay away from 6 feet away from people, cover your mouth when you sneeze, and all these things. Just basically constantly reminding people proper hygiene. You get in America, it's packed. Wherever he landed, it's there's people everywhere. People are not following the guidelines to stay away 6 feet away from other people. People are tripping over each other. People are coughing into their sleeves or out in the open. It's a mess. Be careful out there if you're going to be traveling. But there are groups that need to travel right now, and these are the people I want to give a shout out to. Um, First of all, first responders. There are people flying right now to some of the heavily affected areas. Chicago, New York City, for sure, is calling out everybody every first responder that can get there to go help, to go do it. Washington, California, some of these affected people are flying to be with loved ones, even though they can't be with them. Maybe they're dying right now, but they can't be with them, but they want to be close by. Those people, you want to be careful as well. And then there's another group of travelers right now that I want to give a shout out to. They're not air travelers, but road travelers. And that's my brother-in-law, Brian, and the trucking industry. These people are working their butt off, driving,
Yeah.
putting themselves at risk, driving supplies to your stores, along with the National Guard and our servicemen right now. They're traveling. We want to, make sure we keep the air and the roads clear for these
Yeah.
people who have to put their lives in danger. So if you're thinking about, getting out there and traveling, if you have a need to do that, whether it be by air or by road, just make sure you follow the guidelines. When you're in the airport, keep your distance from people. Keep your bags close to you. Keep handy wipes, sanitizing wipes nearby. Hand sanitizer, if you can find it. You need. And it's hard to find right now, but you've got to have some. If you're going to be out in public, wash your hands regularly. Do not use a public bathroom if you can avoid it. I mean, just be careful, be cautious. When you're on the plane, here's a good thing. Right now, planes are at about 30-40% capacity. So there's a very good chance you're not going to have people on both sides of you. And it's even better, there's a very good chance you can have a whole row to yourself. So space yourself out accordingly, even if you have an assigned seat. The flight attendants have been very good about letting people spread out on these flights. So you want to make sure you check that out and be safe if you're actually on a plane. If you're on the road, depending on how far you're driving, I know the hotel industry has been hit hard right now, and I'm going to be frank with you. There are clean hotels, and then there are not so clean hotels. You could actually bring your own sanitizing wipes. You could bring your own toilet seat covers. You can bring your own sheets and stuff with you as well if you need to. But it might be the safest option right now is to go crunchy and start camping out in the woods. And if you're going to have to take a pit stop on the road as well, that might be a lot safer in this environment than going into a truck stop, gas station, bathroom to use the restroom facilities or to sleep for the night. Probably a better idea to stay in your car than to try out a hotel. But whenever you're going, if you are going, you can check ahead of time, call those hotels, find out what they are doing to purify, sanitize those rooms that they weren't doing before, to calm your nerves a little bit. If you do have to stay somewhere, if you have a loved one, students returning from home from closed colleges, that's another group that's traveling right now. We want to keep the airways open and safe for these people that have to travel right now.
And that's the key word, the people that have to travel.
Yeah.
We say again and again, do not elect to travel if you don't have to right now. Just don't do it. Just don't.
But anyway, shout out to you again, Brian, and any other truck drivers watching. Thanks for doing a good job there. Any servicemen watching right now, first responders, you guys are amazing. And we send out our positive thoughts and prayers for you, that you don't get infected while you're out there on the front lines. So
Absolutely.
thanks again to all of you.
Well, and we are going to do our part by staying here and staying positive and continuing to talk about the obviously current news issues, but also dreaming about that vacation and that trip that will be coming up once things settle down. Because like I said, we're all going to be cooped up, and we should continue to talk about travel and dreaming and planning in the future, because we are going to come through this. And, dadgone it, I'm going to be positive about it. So
absolutely. Hey, my cousin Ben commented today that said I was teasing him. I'm not teasing anybody. I'm giving everybody hope. These places will still be there when we give them the all clear. You're going to want to go check them out. So I'm sorry if you're taking my daily post as teasing, but
no, I'm loving them, man. I'm loving them. I want you to continue. So, well, speaking of that, we did have some carryover questions from last month, and we will be posting again this week, towards the end of the week, the thread in our VIP group. And again, if you're watching on YouTube, the link to join that is always in the description of the video. And obviously, a lot of you are watching in the VIP group. Please ask your questions, because next week, believe it or not, is the end of March. A lot of them I know will be surrounding travel restrictions and or travel deals coming up in the future. Ask your questions, your travel advisor questions, in the group, because we will be talking about that next week on our show on March 31st. So I'm looking forward to that.
So, yep. All right, travelers, or future travelers, I say right now, best thing you can do, stay home.
That's right.
Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next week.
All right. Have a good one, guys. Stay safe and stay healthy. Bye.